Hello Capricorn, this is Citrina, and this is your July 2018 astrology forecast. Let's get right into it because Mercury goes retrograde this month. And it goes retrograde on July 26th through August 18th. So if you have any electronics you need to buy, any contracts you need to sign, any travel you need to book, you need to do it before July 26th. It will be in Leo in your house 8 all month. However, it does go retrograde on July 26th. So now if you have a trip already planned and you'll be traveling during this time, you might have a few delays, but you should still be able to travel. It's just that if you have any, there is a high likelihood that if you book the travel during this time, that there might be some type of cancellation or some type of miscommunication. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, let's keep going because Venus is in Leo in your 8th house until the 10th. The 8th house deals with transformation. It deals with other people's money. It deals with shared resources. And then it goes into your 9th house, dealing with long distance travel, higher education, dealing with other cultures, philosophy. It goes in your 9th house on the 10th. Now, let's talk about the energy of Venus in Virgo versus Venus in Leo. When Venus is in Leo, the energy of that is that you want to splurge. You want everything to be extravagant. Now, the energy of Venus in Virgo is a frugal energy. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Also, Venus in Virgo is more of an analytical, observant energy. So let's say you're dating someone with Venus in Leo. You're not worried about too much observing them. You just, as long as you're having fun with them and they're spending money on you, you're fine. But with Venus in Virgo, there's something that you're going to be observing in the person. This is under Venus in Virgo. You do see a lot of couples break up because it's a very analytical time. For some reason, you know, people tend to be analytical. So for you, Capricorn, this Venus in Virgo falls in your 9th house, which deals with long distance travel, higher education, things of that nature. So for you, Capricorn, let's say you're dating someone, you're going to be observing their house 9 characteristics. So for you, if you're dating someone, you're going to be observing them, thinking to yourself, okay, do they have a higher degree? How much education do they have? Have they traveled outside of the country? How do they feel about other cultures? Things of that nature. So if you are dating a Capricorn and you want to impress them, find out how the Capricorn feels about other cultures, about higher education, dealing with, you know, the legal system, things of that nature. And then you can let them know. Let's say you're dating someone who has wanderlust, and you yourself, you have traveled all over the world. Well, that is something that will impress a Capricorn this month. Okay. Also, let's say you're dating someone who is from another culture. It will impress them to know that you are very interested in their culture. Okay, so that's one way you can impress this Capricorn that you're dating this month. Okay, because Venus is in Virgo in the area of life, dealing with higher education, long distance travel, dealing with other cultures. So if you want to impress this Capricorn this month, that's just something that you can take note of. Okay, so that's that. So let's look at Mars. Mars, remember, Mars went retrograde last month, and Mars is still retrograde. So remember, when Mars is retrograde, it doesn't really feel like doing anything. Now for you, Mars is retrograde in your house dealing with material possessions. So just keep that in mind. And Jupiter goes direct on July 10th. For you, Capricorn, Jupiter is going direct. Jupiter is in Scorpio in house 11, and it goes direct on July 10th. So whatever you've been thinking about surrounding social organizations, surrounding your friends, you'll start seeing movement in that area. And let's keep moving on, because we have the Sun in Cancer until the 22nd. And then as of the 22nd, we can start telling our Leo friends happy birthday. It's going to be Leo season starting on July 22nd. Now, let's get into some things that I want to tell you about. We have the Sun squaring Uranus on July 25th. This is a major happening because with the Sun squaring Uranus, you can expect to hear about some unexpected news. Something unexpected that you didn't think you could, ever hear about. So for you, the Sun is going to be in your 8th house dealing with other people's money, sex, transformation. And then Uranus is in the 5th house dealing with fun, creativity, things of that nature. So for you, let's say you have a joint account with someone. They just might unexpectedly withdraw a large chunk of money to do something creative or to do something romantic for you. They might take a large chunk of money out of the account to buy you, a fancy ring or, something like that. It's going to be something unexpected surrounding other people's money, shared resources, transformation, and coupled with being creative, kids, romance, things of that nature. So, it could be about anything, but it's more than likely going to be about those topics because that's where the planets are falling for you, Capricorn. Now, remember, this is a solar chart. When we do these monthly astrology forecasts, we use a solar chart, what's called a solar chart, so that it's like a general chart for all Capricorns, or for all of that particular sign. So if you want a birth chart interpretation based on your natal chart, based on the position of the planets when you were born, then what I'm telling you, some of this might be a little different based on what's in your birth chart, okay? So just keep that in mind. When we do these monthly horoscopes, even when you read horoscopes in the newspaper, we're using a solar chart. We're not looking at your particular natal chart, which could vary a little bit from this information that we're giving out. So just keep that in mind. Now let's keep going on, but remember, July 25th, you could hear some unexpected news. Now it could happen a few days before or a few days after July 25th, but around that area, watch out for some unexpected news. Let's look at the new moon. Okay, the new moon will be in Cancer, and for you, it falls in your house of partnerships. Okay, now this is not just a regular new moon. This is a partial solar eclipse, okay? So remember, new moons are all about new beginnings. Now, the fact that it's a solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse, this is all about transformation. It is about taking action, things of that nature. So a solar eclipse happens when the moon is between the sun and the earth. That's for all you visual and scientific people out there. Now, most people will feel the effects from this partial solar eclipse. However, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn will feel it the most, okay? And this is an energy that can affect us for the next 6 months. And also, it is a preview of what is coming next year. Now, because it is in opposition to Pluto, you can expect to hear about some type of drama or crisis around this time. It could be like world crisis, or it could be local crisis. And just be aware of that so that you can avoid this drama at this time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pull one card to see what you need to concentrate on at this new moon, Capricorn. Now remember, this new moon will be in Cancer, in your 7th house, dealing with partnerships. So one good thing to do is, if you do any new moon wishing, where you sit down at the new moon and write down, you know, your wishes for the new moon, one good thing to concentrate on is your partnerships, whether it's romantic, whether it is business, also any contracts you want to see happen. That's something good for you to concentrate on at this new moon, because it will be in your house dealing with partnerships. But let's see what the cards say you should concentrate on. What does Cancer need to concentrate on at this new moon in Cancer? Okay, let's see. What do you need to concentrate on, Capricorn? Deception and envy. This is what you need to concentrate on. Let me just look in your chart and see if I see anything, any hidden enemies. Let me just, okay, I just paused it just to look at your chart really good. So now in astrology, anytime you have enemies, if you have an open enemy, like somebody who's just, you know is your enemy, that is shown in house 7. If you have someone, if you have an enemy, but they're really not exposing themselves to you, that is revealed in house 12. So by this new moon being in your 7th house of partnerships, this is also the house of open enemies. So at this new moon, you need to be aware of any type of deception and envy coming from an open enemy. So if you have any enemies, or not really enemies, someone you know that doesn't like you, okay? Or someone you know you have to watch your back around them, okay? At this new moon, you need to concentrate on this deception and envy that is pointing towards you from that person or those people, okay? Because the new moon, again, the new moon is in Cancer, in your 7th house, that deals with partnerships, whether it's business or romantic, and it also deals with open enemies, okay? So just keep that in mind. So it's a really good thing for you at this new moon to write down the ideal situations you want in your life, surrounding your partnerships, surrounding any people that you know don't like you or you don't like them. Write down what you wish for in those areas. And if you know somebody is like always stabbing you in the back, you know somebody's envious of you, write down at this new moon what you wish to see in this situation, okay? And if you look at it, you have the 7 here. It's 7 in the new moon in Cancer, falls in your 7th house. So this is definitely a message for you, Capricorn. Look at your partnerships really good. You know somebody doesn't like you, you don't like them. You need to get that under control. At the new moon, remember, new moons are all about new beginnings. So if you want a new beginning surrounding this, you know, let's say you don't even want to deal with them anymore, you write that down. Writing is a form of magic, you know. I talk about magic. When I'm talking about magic, I'm not always talking about hocus pocus, sprinkle, you know, magic powder, none of that. I'm talking about using your mind. Your mind is so powerful. Okay, so let's keep moving on, because we have also the full moon in Aquarius. Now, it's not just a regular new full moon. This is a total lunar eclipse. So this is a full moon on steroids, okay? So let's talk about this lunar eclipse. Okay, so what is a lunar eclipse? A lunar eclipse happens when the earth is between the sun and the moon. Okay, now this will happen on July 27th. And remember, the full moon is an emotional time for a lot of people. And being that it's a total lunar eclipse, you can definitely expect this to be an emotionally charged time. Now, we all will feel this energy. However, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius will feel it the most. Just remain calm. Whatever secrets come out, whatever is being eclipsed out of your life, just remain calm. Go with the flow during this time. Now, another thing that's going on is that Mars is in Aquarius at the same time. And we know Mars can bring out anger in people, even though it's retrograde. Now, also, anything that you feel has been holding you back, or anything you feel that you've been trying to get out of your life, this eclipse will help you to accomplish that. Okay? So just keep that in mind. It's going to be an emotional time. What I want to talk about before I get out of here is the fact that we have planets working in groups. Planets are always working, in conjunction to one another. So the first group I want to talk about is what I'm calling the Take Action group. So that is Jupiter going direct on July 10th, and then the new moon in Cancer, partial solar eclipse on July 12th. So the new moon for you will be, Jupiter will be in your 11th house dealing with friendships, and then the new moon is going to be in your partnership house. So whatever action you've been thinking about taking related to social organizations, related to friends, those thoughts, along with the new moon in Cancer, are going to work in conjunction with one another. They're not aspecting each other or anything, but they happen within days of each other. So it's going to be like back to back. You're going to see things start happening, around your friendships, and then surrounding your partnerships or your enemies, things of that nature. So keep that in mind. Now, the second group that I want to talk about, I'm calling this group the emotional gang. Okay? This is a gang of planets just working together. We have the Sun in Leo, July 22nd, drama. Sun square Uranus, July 25th, unexpected news. Mercury Retrograde, July 26th, some things might go haywire. And then we have the full moon, July 27th. That's an emotional bag waiting to bust. And then the pin that's going to bust everything is the fact that Mars is in Aquarius with this total lunar eclipse. If all of that together within a few days of one another is not screaming drama, I don't know what is. Okay? That's happening between July 22nd and July 27th. And remember, yes, Mars is retrograde. And Mars doesn't feel like doing anything, but Mars can still set it off. Don't get it twisted. Okay? Don't feel like because Mars is retrograde, he's going to be easygoing. I mean, it is possible. It is possible that nothing emotional will happen during this time. But from what the planets are lining up to present to us, it is very possible. You will have people lashing out at one another. You will hear about emotional outbursts, things of that nature. Because, yes, Mars is still retrograde, but it's still Mars. So I've been giving this story about the vicious dog. I'm comparing Mars to a vicious dog this month, okay? Don't worry. I'm not an abuser of animals or anything, but I'm just using this story to bring home a point about Mars. So let's say in some neighborhood, whenever you walk past the gate, the dog is like barking and growling and jumping at you. And One day you walk past the gate and the dog is calm. So you feel like, oh, I can reach out and pet this dog today because he's not barking, he's calm. So you reach out to pet the dog and he bites you. Why? Because even though he's not barking, he's still a vicious dog. Okay? So think about Mars like that. Even though Mars is retrograde, Mars is still Mars, and Mars can still bring out anger in people, even when he's retrograde, okay? But one thing that's helping us to stay grounded around this time is the fact that Uranus and Saturn are in a good connection to one another, and they're in Earth signs. And also, Venus is going to form a bond with Pluto towards the end of the month, and they are both in Earth signs. So that's going to help us stay grounded, which we're going to need that this month, okay? So it's a month full of a lot of different happenings, especially towards the end of the month. So around July 22nd through July 27th, just expect the unexpected. And remember, you have to remain calm, because a lot of people, they're not really into astrology, so they don't know that sometimes when somebody lashes out at you, it's not personal. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this reading or this forecast, please like this video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And until next month, Capricorn, have a great month.